who are some MCs and some groups that were running around New York at the time that you and most was like, if we bump into these cats, man.
The battles, the battle situation, what battling is and how people see battling, it has gone through many different things. It was like the new music seminar battles. Shout out, rest in peace to Clark Kent. You know, he was involved in that. The DJ battles, the MC battles for world domination, they called it, even though it was just at like the Jacob Javits Convention Center. You know, and you had those type of industry battles, right? Uh-huh. Then you had like street battles. Back then, it wasn't it wasn't like Smack DVD. Mm-hmm. You and people, from my experience, and this might be, other people might have different experience. My experience is it wasn't really smoke. Mm-hmm. It was more like friendly competition. Mm-hmm. Music is subjective. You know, you like some people better than others, but everybody would gather in Washington Square Park, but we was all cool with each other. Mm-hmm. And it was like how Ari Spears talks about white comedy clubs. Mm. He said, white people go there, they applaud the effort.
Yeah.
Black clubs, nigga, you better be funny. Yeah. I'm not applauding your effort. Like I paid a lot of money to come out. Yeah. You got to be funny. And that's my generation of MCs. We was applauding each other's effort. It wasn't dissing each other. It wasn't like, you whack, get the fuck out of here. It was like, okay, that was nice. You tried the little freestyle. Mm-hmm. Okay, but there was definitely people who rose to the top of the pile, like a Supernatural or Yasin Bey. So it wasn't like I'm a battle you, but it was competitive.
Yeah, I remember we had our own version of basically what was going on in New York, kind of being motivated by underground hip hop en masse in St. Louis. So for me, I think a lot of our best acts come out of that style of tradition. And
the battling.
Not necessarily battling, but we had this place called the High Point, which was like our version of the Lyricist Lounge. Shout out my man Finster, the Ruckus Crew, Luke Mon, DJ Trackstar, all those cats, Charlie Chan. They pretty much brought us to this space to groom us to be MCs, to be better participants of hip hop. And since we wasn't in NY, it wasn't like you could go outside and be like, yo, there goes such and such, or there goes such and such, right? So we had to learn how to turn these local people into our equivalent of that, basically. So I felt like we had a local version of KRS-One, my man Lifestyle. We had a local version of this, a local version of that. And some of us come out of that to become figures in the national underground, and then some of us just kind of become St. Louis legends. You know what I'm saying?
Who did you say started that?
Finster, John Harrington, a bunch of cats that were older than me, you know, and I used to have to sneak into it. One of our main DJs, DJ Charlie Chan, he goes on to leave St. Louis and become Run DMC's DJ after Jam Master Jay passed. So
rest in peace, Jay.
You know, that's a whole. You could get booed off the stage in there too. So they wasn't coming to just see what you had. This was like, no, we want to see if our best people could go out in the world and actually do this. So we're not gonna play with it, you know.
Yeah. Now, I wanted you to shout out who started that, because in hip hop, the MCs and the DJs and we get a lot of light, but there's unsung heroes who are promoters and people who may not rap well or DJ or be creative in that way, but they create these showcases, stuff like that. Now, Lyricist Lounge, that became more competitive than us just in the park. And Lyricist Lounge was Danny Castro and Anthony Marshall, and they took the park vibe and brought it inside. And they were curators of who could get on that stage based on their knowledge of the culture. And I always shout them out because they were hard on me. They was like, oh yeah, I don't know if you're ready yet. And that was very important to my development.
That's how they used to do us.
As an MC. You know what I'm saying? So it's like whether it's those guys or what's going on in Detroit at the hip hop shop, Proof in them, or what was going on in Unity in LA with Bigger B in them. There's always someone in the culture who is your job to be. They call it gatekeepers, but I like this. It's not gatekeep. That's a negative term in my view. It's more about curation than gatekeeping, because it's not about just get off my lawn, stay out the gate. You know what I'm saying? But it's more like, hey, bro, like prove that you could be in here.
Mm-hmm. I remember when I was catching more steam as an MC, and one of my guys was like going around town telling different DJs about me. My guy Tech Supreme, who's one of my first earliest producers, he was going around telling everybody about me. And my guy Fence, who was like an icon to us locally, he taught us a lot about how to promote ourselves, market ourselves, and just get our music out there. when he first went to Fence, he said, "Man, is Tef serious?" And I took such offense to him asking, "Was I serious?" That it made me prove to everybody that I was beyond serious. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, "What you mean, am I serious?" You know. But that's the attitude that they had as people who were kind of responsible for seeing what could get let through the cracks. You know.
Which side are you on? Get off the fence, son.